Good morning, everyone. Gosh, we're so excited to see so many folks here, and I see a lot of familiar faces I haven't seen in a while. And just always a pleasure to have you guys join us. I'll be real quick. We're gonna, share, everyone will introduce themselves. Wendy Parent-Johnson, my director, is gonna moderate the panel this morning. And then as usual, if you've been on these, we're gonna hopefully have some time at the end to have the state agencies talk to us a little bit too. And we hope that you guys are willing to ask questions and be an active audience at the end after everyone gets to go through the panel. So with that, I'm going to let Wendy Parent-Johnson take over, and thank you all for being here.
Well, thank you, Susan. I'm so glad to have everyone here, and I'm really excited because we have this wonderful panel today. I had the privilege of spending time with them before today, so I know the terrific things they're going to share with us and help us as we assist more people with entering the workforce or maintaining their job now. So we're going to start out with introductions, and if you all can give your name and where you work and what your job title is. Ed, would you like to start us off? We got to get you off mute first. There you go.
Yeah, it's Pick. I work with the University of Iowa Center for Excellence on Disability, and I'm a self-advocacy coordinator at CD.
Okay. Thank you.
That's a bit about me.
Thank you, Ed. Lori, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Lori McBride, and I'm a deafblind specialist in the state of Iowa. And I work for Helen Keller National Center, which is based out of Sands Point, New York.
Okay. Jason, would you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jason Sneed. I am the Research and Communication Specialist for ADDPC, Arizona Developmental Disabilities Planning Council. So, thanks.
Good. Glad you're here. And Gabe?
I'm Gabe Martinez. I work at Snow and Lucy Ed. I'm a peer mentor.
Thank you. And is Mark on yet?
I just let him into the room. I think he'll be joining shortly.
Mark, are you on to introduce yourself?
I see you there, Mark. Can you take yourself off mute and introduce yourself? He might still be connecting. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, when you answer your first question, when you answer your
hello. This is Mark Mendivas with the Workability. Can you hear me?
Yes. And what's your job title?
Okay. I'm sorry I had to with my computer. I'm sorry I'm late.
That's okay. Can you just give your job title?
Oh yes. I'm the community outreach specialist with the Workability program of UCPSA.
Thank you. Okay, so all of you that, oh, I'm sorry, Mark, what?
I apologize for being late.
That's okay. So all of you that are on the panel, you may want to unmute yourself so you can answer the questions, but if it's easier to just unmute when we get to you, then that's fine too. So our first question is, are you working at home? Are you doing remote work, or are you in the community receiving supports through technology? And how is your job different now since COVID? So Lori, do you want to start?
Hello, this is Lori. My job to start with was remote because, as I mentioned, the headquarters for Helen Keller National Center is in New York, and I cover Iowa. But I was still working outside of my office by visiting with consumers. since COVID, that piece of travel has stopped. So the remote piece that's added to my job is actually like what we're doing today, meeting via Zoom. So in working with customers now, that's the big difference, is doing it all via computers or through phone calls or text messages. We just started, I also do work for the ICANN Connect program. And with that, I wasn't able to travel either, but now I can at least deliver or pick up equipment with the consumer with no contact. So that's where I'm at right now.
Thank you. Jason, how about you? Are you working remotely or receiving support at home or?
Yeah, so I'm primarily working remotely. I do get some, I do have some gadgets at home that I can use, so that's good. Like this microphone here, for my Dragon Dictate and for other things. Primarily my job was before is to go out in the community and just to communicate with the community, and so that's a little different now and stuff. But it's been a interesting experience with all the meetings on Zoom and everything, like Lori was saying. So it's been good. So that's
okay. Thank you. Mark, do you want to answer for us? Are you working remotely? How are things different now since COVID? Mark? Okay, we'll come back to you, Mark. Gabe, do you want to tell us?
Yes, yes, I've been working remotely. It helps to understand COVID and how making work at home. Working at a office honestly before COVID when it went home and worked.
And Gabe, for you, how long was it that you had just been hired before you went working quickly to shift to being remote?
Since I was hired in March, if COVID hits in March,
Yeah,
it reminds me to stay home and work.
yeah, it was really quick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fast learning. Ed, how about you?
Well, I'm not sure before COVID hits. Before COVID hit, I was able to meet people face to face, and now I'm also doing the same as the other people. But I'm in the community and still working. I do work from home sometimes, but most of the time I'm in the community.
Even now with COVID, or is it any different after COVID, or is that still the same for you?
It is different because I can't meet people face to face, so I have to meet them on the Zoom, even though it's still the same.
Okay, thank you. And how about you, Mark? Are you ready now?
Yeah, I'm ready. Primarily I was working in the community as promoting our programs and services, but since COVID hit, I've been doing mostly Zoom meetings, Microsoft Teams, and Google Meets video calls with managers. So yeah, it's mostly virtual now, and I'm working from home 1 day a week. The rest of the time, I'm in the office on camera.
Okay, excellent. So a lot of different ways that people have adapted to doing their job. So tell me, how was your employer helpful to assist you to be able to continue your job? And was there any any training that you received that helped you shift to a different way of doing things, doing it remotely or using technology different? So any assistance from your employer or any training that you found helpful? Jason, how about you starting us?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. But yeah, so it's been interesting since COVID. My job, I communicate with the communication director and the director as well with social media and different things. And one of the challenges working from home is we can't. It's a little harder to communicate. So we do it by phone. And recently, she sent me a video about how to post something that was very helpful, because I have a different view sometimes on how to post stuff, and then she has something, so it was easier to, just send me a little video, just show me how to do things. And so that's how we've been adapting to, the COVID situation.
Excellent, thank you. Gabe, what was there things that your employer did to help you make that transition and learn to work from home?
Sometimes I get like coworkers help me with like laptop, like they will help you and check on you, and also support sometimes, and they give me like a computer and practice learning to do Zoom, and I get like IT tech support.
Excellent, thank you. Ed.
Well, one of the things that happened with when COVID hit, they I kind of wrote down what I needed to be able to work from home, and they provided them, but at some time whenever I work from home, I had to write something down. I had to write something down that I did, so that I can give it to my supervisor to look into it, or even send it to her. So and just look at it to make sure that I'm working, and so that and then I used it. I went ahead, and so they end up getting me the computer as well, just as someone said. So it was easier for me to adapt from as COVID hit. I was able to finalize getting to home doing home being at home working. So that was the most good thing about it. So.
Thank you, Ed. Mark, do you want to tell us?
Yes, agency-wide UCP, United Cerebral Palsy Affiliate in Arizona, agency-wide, we all got cameras on our office computers, and there was a training that the different departments took through with Zoom, and Microsoft Teams. So it was really workability started program wide. Our department started doing virtual before UCP did. So we helped UCP make the transition to virtual after the cameras were installed on each computer.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. And Lori.
Lori here. For us, I mean, like I mentioned before, we work remotely anyways, but there is still that extra piece of not seeing the consumers face to face. So there was some training that I took that was actually provided by APSI, and that was the strategies for providing remote employment support. And that helped me with learning how to provide some of this support to our consumers. And my employer allowed us all time to have that training. And so that was an important piece, as I'm sure everyone else's employer allowed us to have that time. We all have to switch.
That's good.
Yeah. And with the ICANN Connect program, I received some training through that, in the sense of I got another laptop that's a Windows based, because the computer that I have for my accommodation is Apple. A lot of the consumers that we work with have Windows, and so they're not always compatible in using JAWS, as I don't use JAWS. So I can use JAWS Tandem if my consumer has it, and I can look at their computer at the same time as them. So having that equipment, extra equipment again, has helped with the accommodations on both sides of the consumers and myself for the remote work. And the support with the employers has been fantastic.
Excellent. Thank you. 2 more questions, and then we're going to open it up to everyone in the audience to be able to ask yours. So be thinking about what you want to ask all these folks. So tell us what, you've touched on some of these, but can you tell us what type of assistance or accommodations or support that you receive to be able to help you work at home or work remotely? Let's see. Ed, you want to start us off?
Yeah, so one of the technology that I use is I like to use the computer, and mostly I use my phone as well to communicate with people. And so the thing that I use the most is vision right technology to keep me engaged with the other people, and that's the tool that I use for myself, because I still I know that I can read some stuff, but I'm not gonna read everything on time. So it kind of give me an idea to read fast for me, and then I kind of catch up on what to do during that in the information provided to me, or even reading email, catching up on email. So it's read and write helped me a lot in those situation, and with using my phone, I call my supervisor every time to let her know how is the technology working for me in order to do my work, or how technology help me in terms of like getting my work being done, and again, when I work at home, I kind of updated her on what I did within every day. Every time I had to update her on something that I did, so that kind of kept me on the track with what I did, And so that kind of gave me an idea that I need technology in order to do all the stuff. So, and then I was able to catch up with my work. So yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. How about you, Mark?
Could you please repeat the questions?
Yeah, what type of assistance or accommodations or supports have you received that help you do your job and make it easier to do your job?
Well, I actually use two different technologies that are very basic. I use Dragon, naturally speaking, to write my correspondence, and another piece of technology that they allowed me to use at work is they allowed me to forward my office cell phone number to, they forwarded my office telephone number to my cell phone, so that allowed me to take my phone calls from my office directly to my cell phone, so that I can work from home. Other than the technologies that I use via video, my office number is transferred to my cell phone. So yeah, that's really helpful.
Oh, good. Good, thank you. Jason, how about you?
So I too, like Mark, use Dragon Dictate. So that's one of the things I use. But specifically here at home, what they did was they came and optimized my workspace to make it more efficient for what I do, and that really helps because unlike at work, there's always somebody there to help me or to assist with any kind of technology or anything I need, because there's coworkers and different things. But here, sometimes I'm by myself, so I can't really, you know, fix things technologically wise or whatever. So they made sure that it's, you know, in the best, designed in the best way possible, so that I could, you know, do my job the most efficient way. So that's one thing.
Excellent. Well, I love all the things that you all have put into place to be so successful. Gabe, do you want to tell us about what kind of assistance or support that you use?
To talk to my supervisor, to do work like task lists, what needs to be done, reminders of what needs to be done, use calendar and task list, reminds to check my calendar, and check my emails and stay current on work.
Excellent. Thank you. Great tips. How about you, Lori?
It's Lori here. One of the technology pieces that I use a lot was the iPhone to communicate with consumers. And with one of my consumers who is a ASL user, if we were to meet in person, we would normally have an interpreter present. But I could call him just using his VR or his VP number, but we wouldn't see each other and Zoom just wouldn't work. So there's a new app out called Wavello, and it's a free app that you can download onto your iPhone or your iPad. And they, on the Sorensen video phone, they would have that accessibility as well. And this way you can see the interpreter and the consumer that you're calling, and they can see me as well. And we can see each other and still have a Zoom meeting type thing, but there's an interpreter present and there's no travel, you know, because we can't travel to see. So it's an accommodation for myself in the sense that I can still communicate with him without having to try and email all the time. And like I mentioned before, the JAWS Tandem is great for assisting, troubleshooting a computer. 'Cause I'm used to doing it hands-on in person. Well, now trying to give instructions over the phone is different. So now still being able to see their computer using JAWS Tandem has made a difference for me because I'm still kind of hands-on, but I'm just not there.
Wow.
So those are my biggest things is technology.
Mhm, mhm.
I
I love
would agree.
Wait. Who's that? Oh, okay. Last question, folks. Okay, and then we're going to open it up to everybody else. So think about this. What have you found to be a benefit now, working remotely, working from home? Has there been a positive aspect of that to your job? And then also, what challenges have you encountered and how have you addressed those? Okay, so the good, the bad, and how you've solved those things. So let's, Mark, you want to start us off?
I think, yeah, sure. I think the benefit to working from home is the the amount of travel that I have significantly decreased, and the cost of transportation has significantly decreased, and it's allowed me more time to actually do my work as opposed to traveling to the office day after day. So it's allowed me to be more productive. The downside would be the social isolation. For me, I'm very isolated socially, and so that can be a big downside for me, and I don't feel as effective and when doing outreach with employers. I don't feel as effective as face-to-face meetings.
Mhm, mhm. That's excellent. Have you worked out some strategies that you mentioned being socially connected? I think everybody is experiencing that. Have you found anything to be helpful there?
Through video calling and telephone calls and emails have been extremely helpful for
Okay,
me.
excellent. Thank you for sharing all of that. Jason, how about you?
But one of the big barriers, one of the big positives I see with working from home is the restroom in terms of access to the bathroom, and it's easier for me to use the bathroom because the bathroom is actually set up for me. Not that my job is they do have an accessible bathroom, but it's a universally accessible bathroom, which is somewhat difficult sometimes. And plus, there's a code on the door for security reasons. So for somebody with a dexterity issue like myself, because I have CP, it's be kind of difficult. And also, like Mark mentioned, that transportation is easier, obviously, because I don't have to worry about that so much.
Mm-hmm.
Another benefit is my caretakers can come at their normal time. Versus if I go to the office, I have they have to come earlier and they have to switch around their schedule or I might have to get new caretakers, which I don't like training new people and doing that. So that is a benefit to working from home. some of the barriers is I like to talk to people and I like to read people's body language and do different things like that. And so it's hard to do that on Zoom and and by telecommuting. Also people like to talk in the chat, and as a person who uses uses voice activation computer, you can't really talk in the chat at the same time when you're listening to Zoom. So that's just some barriers that I've seen working from home, and just getting to know your coworkers a little better and those types of things. And social output is also a barrier.
Yeah. Thank you for that. You are just sharing some really helpful information for everyone. Gabe, would you like to tell us what have you found to be a benefit working at home?
For me, I get support from my family and help with stuff at home. And currently, I miss being in person with my coworkers. Hard to have friends, all email communications, stay connected through Zoom, email, and conversation is helpful.
Thank you. We all need some of that, Gabe. Appreciate it. How about you, Lori?
It's Laura here. The big benefit, I think, working remotely is made us think outside the box of providing services, but also how we provide that service remotely. And like everybody mentioned, we have less travel because most of us travel to see our consumers, and so that cost is down. But the socializing is not there either. But I found that with my consumers and even myself is we have to rely on ourselves more than with someone else. It's like we have to figure out how we're going to make it work with support from our consumers and our coworkers still. I find that's been a big confidence boost in both myself and consumers is, hey, I figured it out. I can do this. We got this. The big barrier that I find is with my job is I'm also kind of a job coach. Is I can't go out with my consumer who is working with any of them and job coach in person. And the resolution to that with some of them is if they have an interpreter there, an ASL interpreter, is I'm kind of living vicariously through them. And excuse me, they've been shooting some videos so I can see some of the area that my consumers are working in and sending me that. And the communication has grown in our meetings that we discuss more things probably that we wouldn't normally discuss if I was there. So that's the kind of the solution is still that communication is increasing that troubleshooting together.
Oh, wow, that's a great tip. Thank you. And Ed, how about you?
Before I began getting back into working in the community, one of the things that was the biggest thing was impacting me before I go back into the community was one of the things that happened was that I continue to forget meeting that I had, and that's why part of my understanding for because of having a technology and not able to see people in person. That was kind of my biggest concern, and so and it gave me a little confidence in talking to people, but it's also I lost a lot of that connection with people because of of not being able to see everyone, every person I used to work with. So those are some of the hard things, and the other hard thing, was that more impacted me was about not only my technology, but people understanding me on Zoom. Like when I talk on Zoom, people may not understand me, and that's something that I had to get to use to. How can I communicate with people? How can I do my job as well as engaging other people into the conversation? So those are some of the hard things. Some of the good thing into my job, my job now is that I'm able to sit down and even though I had to wear a mask, I still communicate to patients every day, assist every day, and give them ideas on advocacy and help other people whenever they need and also because I'm in the community, that mean that I can get up early morning to come and do my job and then go home, and I only don't. The hard thing about that is that I have to ride my bike to work every day now. So, and I enjoy it right now more than ever. So I just know it's coming, and that maybe the balance of using time possession, which I don't wanna get into using buses and other public transportation. That may be hard for me to use, but I'm getting used to that. I'll be getting back into that, so it's maybe a challenging. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. You all just, the suggestions you gave, they're so helpful for all of us. And I so appreciate you sharing your experiences. And now we're going to open it up to, there's a lot of communication in the chat, and I'm sure there's questions. So Susan, would you like to, would you like to?
I don't know that there's any questions. Jeff, did you come across any? There was the app question I saw that I think Beth or someone answered. Thank you. It was the app that Lori was talking about that they were asking about.
Well, we can open it up to questions. We can just open it up to the floor as well, but I didn't know.
Of course. Yeah. I didn't see any in the chat, but I hope I didn't miss something. If I did, Jeff, please jump in. So yeah, if anyone wants to take themselves off mute or raise their hand, thank you, Jeff. Do you have questions for the panel? Yes, Nubia, I think your hand's up, and make sure you take yourself off mute, please. You're on mute.
Hi.
There you go.
So I'm new with my role. Thank you all. That was a lot of great information. I'm new to the rehab specialist position, but my question was, is this going to be an ongoing meetings that you'll be facilitating to kind of like help us all like learn new ways and to better do our job or learn from you? Because I'm meeting a lot of great people and lots of great resources just from reading the chat and all of you talking. So I do have a lot of questions, but that was my number one. Will you be meeting again? I don't take my mask because I'm at the clinic.
No, you're absolutely fine. Jeff put at the bottom the link to our landing page. So we've been running this series since early April, and there's multiple every other Friday for the most part. So there, I would encourage you to go back, anybody that's on, to look at, we've covered multiple topics about virtual employment services. And we're still working through, I do believe we're gonna offer at least one more, if not more, because these have been well received. And so, yeah, keep the lookout. and get on the, you'll be on the listserv. Anybody that's on here now that you've joined, Jeff, our communication marketing guy person, he'll make sure that you guys see that announcement for future ones. So thank you, Nubia. Welcome to your role. Who else has questions? Yeah, Jeff just put it in there again. Anyone else on here? I like that people raise their hand, but there's multiple screens, so you can just take yourself off mute, or we can, does anyone have any questions?
Or any comments that you just want to add?
Oh yeah, and as Jeff's saying, you can put in the chat box too if you would rather ask there.
Well, we can move over to the state agencies, and then if people have questions, we can bring them in.
Okay, we do have one. Any words or wisdom or advice for persons with disabilities who are seeking employment right now during the pandemic? And I don't know if if the panel wants to answer any of that, if there's anyone on the panel that would be willing to answer that, or if there's anyone on the webinar that would like to answer that.
Let's ask our panelists.
People.
Yeah, let's check with the panelists first.
That's okay. You want me to go first?
So, yeah.
All right. So my suggestion was is to use VR, because VR is helpful with that, especially when it comes to accommodations. People don't realize that if your employer doesn't pay for it, they will definitely help you pay for it for whatever accommodations you need. And honestly, I was not a fan of VR at first, but they did help me get this job, so I appreciate that. And also just to network with whatever network you can network with, you know, even if it's by Zoom, because honestly, you know, going on Indeed and looking up jobs, that is not as successful as, you know, just networking. And even during this time, you can do it. There's several different committees you can be on and different things, so you can figure out what you need. So that's just my suggestion.
Any other
Thank you,
panelists?
Jason.
Want to add?
This is Mark Mendibus. I would like to add to that, if I may. I would say another aspect other than to connect with all the networking you can is planning ahead, writing out an employment plan, and do your homework about the companies you want to apply for. Know everything you can about the companies that you're wanting to apply for, and know, understand their mission statements, and get to know your companies that you're applying for completely. I can't stress that enough. Research.
Excellent.
Good
Thank you.
idea.
Ed or Gabe or Lori, do you all have anything that you want to add to that?
Yeah, to add to what Mark was talking about, doing that research, I think with the concern of COVID, it's good to add that research in there, is learning what their protocol is, what the expectations are, and their requirements, for our health. When we go to work, if that's the type of job that you're getting, you actually have to leave your home and go to work.
Exactly.
Good point.
Excellent.
Exactly. Thank you.
And I think I was to make a good decision for whatever research you have to make accommodation for everybody, and I would say that the other thing is that when you include people let them understand that they need support. Understand that the support you provide them may help you as an employer to benefit from the environment they are working in, because it is COVID, but it's also socializing. Socializing is one of the hard things right now in the COVID. How do you provide information when people don't? How do you provide information to people any time of COVID? How do you benefit from those information? So by doing research, by saying people what do we need to know, or what do we need to do our job. Those are some of the ideas that coming up with the research.
Oh, thank you. And Gabe, did you have anything you wanted to add about thoughts for people that want to get a job now?
Yeah. So if you want to find a job, go on Indeed, or like there's different types of links for you to look at jobs. And for COVID, if you get information from COVID about the COVID, and because people needs to speak loud, what are we doing, what's our health look like, and get the words out to the world and let them know that we're struggling with health, and probably if we work well each things to get paid, get some work, find some work and get paid, it helps people to work more with different types of disability, like Ed, Lori, Mark, everyone out there need to speak up to find jobs and work. We need to work well and get paid more from each job out there. Needs to speak out what they're thinking and what they're saying. We need the word out to help.
Thank you. Thank you all. Okay, Susan.
Don't be
So
afraid
with
to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask as many questions as you can as well.
That's a great point. Yeah, thank you, Mark. You all made some great points. Much appreciated. I don't see anything else. So yeah, this last few minutes, as you guys have been joining us, you all know that we sort of call on our, or not sort of, we call on our state leadership to see if they have anything to add, or if you guys have any questions for them. I know we just have a few minutes left, but Kristen Mackey, our administrator over the Vocational Rehabilitation Service Administration Program, sorry, and I don't know that Access is on today. I didn't see Adam or Margaret, DDD. So Kristen, did you have anything you want to?
I saw
Oh,
Adam.
okay. Anything you wanted to add about from your perspective of your agency and supporting people and? Oh, you're on mute. Are you trying? Oh, there you go.
And there we go. All right. I was like pushing it. It's like, it's not allowing you. Most people don't want to hear me talk. That's for sure. So anyway, yeah, I have to call this out. I'm missing my college football season. So I'm wearing ASU t-shirt in memory of college football, just trying to have something. So the social connection, you know, y'all talking about that definitely resonates, you know, we just don't have the opportunity to do those things we used to, if they get out and enjoy each other and communicate and really just, you know, enjoy. So I just want to say thank you, because I learned so much as an employer to be able to put into play. And so thank you for your insight there, and looking forward to checking out some of these new apps and seeing how we can best help our own staff through this as well. So it was eye-opening for me in that respect also. So thank you for that. And always good to hear from folks that are successful and doing the good work out in the community. So thank you.
I have a question.
And oh yeah, go ahead.
For close, what kind of implement are you guys doing?
What kind of, what are we doing?
Employment.
Employment.
Yeah.
Employment. Oh, as far as for Voc Rehab, we have folks, counselor positions, we have rehabilitation technician positions. So we are continuing to hire people into state service, and DES as a whole has a lot of positions. So if you're interested in state service work, there's AZ State, I think it's azstatejobs.gov. So I would encourage you to go there if you're looking for a state job position. And then, you heard some of the coworkers also, or folks say, Indeed, and, there's Untapped, there's lots of places to go to look for jobs. But Voc Rehab is hiring, and we're continuing to hire. So come and apply.
Come move to Arizona, Edward. He's from Iowa, so recruiting.
I hope.
Recruitment. And so, yeah, and just for those that might not know for any reason, Voc Rehab is the state agency that provides employment services for individuals who have disabilities. So if you're on the phone or on the call and you didn't realize that and you have a disability and need any support, we encourage you to consider that resource. That's what Kristen manages for the state of Arizona. Adam, did you want to add anything? I did see your name finally. We always like to ask our funders that fund
Hello.
services for people who have
Jeff
disabilities.
needs to
Hi, Adam.
unmute him. Jeff,
He's unmuted,
Can
yeah.
you guys, there we go.
Okay.
Can you hear me
Yeah.
now?
Yep.
All right. No, thank you very much to all the panelists for sharing your experiences with becoming virtual. I seriously admire every single one of you, as well as everyone on this webinar. We're all riding this roller coaster this virtual roller coaster over these last several months. But one of the key things that I heard here was really how important it is for the employer to get that support from the employer. Not only from the technology itself, but allowing that time necessary to be able to learn and use that technology is key. And then one thing throughout these months that we've definitely realized, and it's been mentioned here a few times, is that virtual work and services and providing services virtually can definitely be beneficial. Obviously, moving forward, we would never want to replace that in-person connection with virtual only. But what it does tell us is that, incorporating some of the virtual work and services can work, and you guys are proof of that. Thank you guys very much for sharing everything with us.
Thank you.
Yes. And for the ones that haven't joined us, we just want you to know that you've got your Medicaid dollars, if you happen to be eligible for those, behavioral health and the Division of Developmental Disabilities, you've got your Voc Rehab. Everyone has been very supportive in funding these opportunities as needed and necessary. We don't want to stop and get stuck. We need to just keep moving forward. There are jobs out there. People are working both in person and remotely. So please access your resources and don't stop. We need people to work out there. Yeah. So these agencies have been very supportive and flexible and willing to do what we need to do to get people with disabilities employed and keep employment. So with that, it's noon. We're ending our webinar now. We appreciate you all so very much, especially thanks to the panel. Just amazing, you all, and thank you again, and hopefully we'll see you very soon. You all have a great weekend.